I'm filming this on October 10th, 2025, and a week ago today, on October 3rd, 2025, Taylor Allison Swift released her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. And since October 3rd, I have been thinking of little else. This album, for better or for worse, has occupied my brain, and I'm going to talk about it. Why? Why, Caroline? Why are you making this video? Can't you make a video about literally anything else? Haven't enough people talked about Taylor Swift and about this album? Why do you have to add your voice to this chorus, Caroline? That's what I imagine some of you are saying at home. And the answer is that I am making this video because I really, really want to. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by Taylor Swift. I'm fascinated by the strong emotions that she inspires in people. I am fascinated by the strong emotions that she's been able to inspire in me over the years. I believe I cried when I watched the Eras Tour film for the first time. What? Why? I cried because a 34-year-old woman was lip-syncing? That's fascinating. I am not a Swiftie in the traditional sense, in that I have a lot of critiques about Taylor and her work, and I don't feel at all guilty for having those critiques about Taylor and her work, but I am also not a hater in the capital H style of hate, the B word, eating crackers style of hate, where everything she does, they're just like, wow, the audacity to exist in a time and place. I can't believe she would do that. I can't believe she would be somewhere wearing something with her hair in a style. Oh, I find a lot of things about Taylor to be relatable. I am also a millennial white woman who probably thinks too highly of her own intelligence, with dishwater blonde, naturally curly hair, who never had to worry about whether or not my parents could afford to pay the bills, and therefore had a lot of free room in my brain to just think about myself. On the other hand, I'm not a billionaire, so there are certainly things that aren't relatable to me about Taylor and her life today. I, like Taylor, also consider myself to be pretty good at English. And like Taylor, I'm also not actually an English teacher, but I do have a degree in English from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Go Heels. So today, I'm going to put that degree to work, and I am going to be analyzing the lyrics from The Life of a Showgirl. Ooh, I'm excited. I am not going to be playing the songs for you. I am not going to be analyzing the actual music at all. So if you are looking for an all-encompassing analysis that considers the lyrics and the music, this video is not going to completely satisfy. But if you are looking for someone to just get into the nitty-gritty of what the words do or do not say, then let's go, team. Sorry, but here we go. Starting with track number 1, The Fate of Ophelia, verse 1, we have, I heard you calling on the megaphone, you want to see me all alone. As legend has it, you are quite the pyro, you light the match to watch it blow. And that I heard you calling on the megaphone, you want to see me all alone, is in reference to Travis Kelce, her now fiance, who is a tight back or something like that for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is an American football team. He publicly asked her out. That's him calling on the megaphone. Megaphone, football, those two things are related too. And asking to see her all alone, right? He saw her in the Eras Tour. He thought, ooh, what a woman. And then he was like, I got to see this woman by myself in a date scenario. And then, as legend has it, you are quite the pyro, you light the match to watch it blow. I think this is just in reference to Travis's allegedly fiery and exciting personality. I don't think that this is meant to say that Travis actually does have an issue with committing arson. I don't think we're supposed to take that away from this. Moving on to, I believe you call this a pre-chorus. I'm not a music expert. But she says, "And if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I, right before you lit my sky up." Now, first of all, I don't love that she doesn't just rhyme I with sky. Why didn't she just say, "I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I right before you lit up my sky"? Why does she end it with lit my sky up? I'm not a music expert, so maybe she has strong reasons for that. But that first part, "and if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy." So if you had never come for me, I might have died of sadness. I might have just wallowed forever. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I. That sounds like a positive thing, right? You go through a breakup, and then you say, let's prioritize myself. But in the context of this, she's saying that that's a super tragic fate, to swear your loyalty to me, myself, and I. She's equating being single to perpetual melancholy. Now, this one might be the pre-chorus. Maybe both of them were the pre-chorus, but anyways, the next part says, "All that time I sat alone in my tower because she was single," which is just an interesting way of looking at her time on the Eras Tour, because this is all taking place within her time on the Eras Tour, and she's thinking of herself as just pining away, damsel in distress, alone in her tower while she's performing for hundreds of thousands of people. "You were just honing your powers, now I can see it all." So Travis is the one here that has the agency. He was the one honing his powers. He's the one that can save her. She cannot save herself. She needs this tight back to save her. "Late one night, you dug me out of my grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia." I need a minute. So, she's in a grave because being single is akin to being dead. Being heartbroken is akin to being dead for Taylor. And he brought her back to life with his love, right? And saved her heart from the fate of Ophelia. I think we need to get into who Ophelia is as a character really quick. She is in the play Hamlet by a little-known playwright named William Shakespeare, and she is a tragic character. She is manipulated and gaslit and triangulated by the three men in her life, and she really has no agency. Her father Polonius, her brother Laertes, and Hamlet, who is a former lover of hers, are all in her ear telling her different things, and she is driven to the point of madness by these men, and then she dies by drowning. It's up to interpretation whether she took her own life or whether that was an accident, that she was in such a state of madness, she did not realize what she was doing. But regardless, men are the problem. Men are the problem in Hamlet for Ophelia, and she would not be in this position if it weren't for men driving her to this position. And she did not need a man to save her. She needed the patriarchy to have less of a firm grip on society. She needed to be able to make decisions for herself about her own life. So Taylor, having a man save her from the fate of Ophelia, sticky. Also the very idea that without this man you would what? Off yourself? That's toxic, right? If your friend said that IRL, if they said, without my man, I'd be gone, you would say, let me call someone, because that's not okay, right? Now we have words for the sake of words and the chorus. Keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. That doesn't mean anything. Keep it 100 means, be honest. Keep it real. Keep it real on the land, the sea, the sky. What does that mean? Not a thing. Those are just words for the sake of words that are said for no other reason than that they sound nice and that they sound catchy when paired with this sick beat. Pledge allegiance to your hand, your team, your vibes. My God. Okay. Your interests are my interests now. Your hands are my religion now. You are my whole life now. Fine. That means a little bit more. That has at least a little bit more of a actual lyrical meaning than keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. That part doesn't mean a thing. Don't care where the hell you've been, 'cause now you're mine. It's possessive. We like it, right? People love a little possessiveness in romance, and Taylor is always possessive of her lovers. She always uses this mine language. And that's who Travis Kelce is to a lot of people now, People wear shirts to his football games that are like Taylor's boyfriend. I don't know how he feels about that. His feelings are irrelevant. He is a character in Taylor's story. It's about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of. We're about to bone. This is the first, but not nearly the last time Taylor is going to allude to intimate relations between her and Travis Kelce. And I think by the end of this album, we will all wish to have heard less about their intimate relations. And then she just repeats the line, the fate of Ophelia. So that's the chorus. Next, the eldest daughter of a nobleman, Ophelia lived in fantasy. Well, that's one way of saying she was gaslit by the men around her. I don't think that I would say Ophelia lived in fantasy, but hey, what do words mean anyway? But love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity. Again, I don't think it was love that did this to her. It was being used as a pawn that did this to her. Nobody ever loved Ophelia the way that she deserved to be loved. No one actually truly cared about Ophelia as a person. And also, is love good or bad, Love saves Taylor, but it's what drove Ophelia to madness. I suppose saying the idea of love was a cold bed full of scorpions is a bit more wordy than she would have wanted. And I guess for Taylor, even if it's one-sided, it is the venom that stole her sanity. Her being in love with these men that did not properly love her back was crazy making for Taylor. And if you'd never come for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. So being single is non-existence. Without a man, she's just floating in the ether. You wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine, pulling me into the fire. That's an interesting line for me because that imagery is negative in my view. A chain? I don't want someone wrapped around me like a chain. And think about it, the imagery of ball and chain is like your significant other weighs you down. A crown, a vine, paired next to each other, vine and crown makes me think of, a martyr, Jesus Christ, crown of thorns. Not a pleasant thing. Pulling me into the fire. Is being on fire pleasant? In this song, she equates fire to excitement. So it's just not thoroughly thought through. The words don't have as much meaning as the words might have had in some of her previous albums. They just sound nice with the music behind them. Then we have the bridge. 'Tis locked inside my memory and only you possess the key. You know what's kind of funny about this is a variation of this line was said by Ophelia, but not to Hamlet, her former lover, to her brother, to Laertes. So Travis is the brother in this scenario. Regardless. But also, what's locked inside her memory? I guess this is just her opportunity to repeat a vaguely Shakespeare line, but it doesn't really mean anything in the context of this song. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. And then she repeats exactly that. Who was deceiving her before? She was just single. He saved her from the horrific fate of being alone. All right. So that was the fate of Ophelia. And overall, the theme is Taylor needs a man to come save her. And without that man, she might as well die. Not exactly a feminist anthem, but if that's how she felt, that's how she felt. Several clunky lines, several lines that really don't mean a whole lot of anything, but honestly, overall, with the music behind it, kind of a bop. Hate to admit. The lyrics are a mess, but still, I can't stop singing it. Track number 2, Elizabeth Taylor. Now, who is Elizabeth Taylor? Elizabeth Taylor is a former movie star and someone who is famous for having been married 8 times to 7 different men. So her name is kind of synonymous with somebody who is unlucky in love. Also, she's famous for having been an incredibly glamorous woman. The image of opulence, Elizabeth Taylor. So the lyrics go, Elizabeth Taylor, do you think it's forever? Pretty self-explanatory there, right? Unlucky in love, do you think this time's forever? And then we've got, that view of Portofino was on my mind when you called me at the Plaza Atene. What a rich woman sentence, right? Portofino is apparently a village in Italy, and the Plaza Atene is a 5-star hotel in Paris, France. I looked those things up because I have never been to Portofino or the Plaza Atene. Ooh, oftentimes it doesn't feel so glamorous to be me. I'm not saying that that isn't true, that there is no point where it doesn't feel glamorous to be Taylor Swift. But she doesn't tell us why it doesn't feel glamorous to be her. She has a sentence about being a glamorous person, essentially, Portofino, Plaza Atene, and then immediately follows it with, oftentimes it doesn't feel so glamorous to be me. Why? What doesn't feel glamorous about it? She doesn't say. All the right guys promised they'd stay. Under bright lights, they withered away. Her exes couldn't handle the spotlight. They couldn't handle the fame. But you bloom. Travis thrives in the spotlight, and he thrives being a famous person. And that's part of what makes him just so perfect for Taylor. Portofino was on my mind, and I think you know why. They boned, maybe. They boned in Portofino, Italy. Some of this, she's not giving us the full look behind the curtain that she has in albums past. This more feels like it's for Travis, a few of these lines, because we don't know what happened in Portofino, and she doesn't tell us. We don't know about the Plaza Atene. That's an inside baseball thing with rich people. This song feels a little bit like it doesn't let the audience fully in, which I'm not saying is a good or bad thing. I'm sure that it's healthy for Taylor in a lot of ways to not let the audience in so much. And if your letters ever said goodbye, I'd cry my eyes violet, Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was said to have violet eyes. I'm sure they weren't really violet. She wasn't a fairy or a vampire, or whoever else would have violet eyes, but, you know, they're blue. Taylor has blue eyes. When they're bloodshot, the combination of the red, the blue, cry her eyes violet. Tell me for real, do you think it's forever? Self-explanatory. Been number one, but I never had two. Been number one, but I've never been a part of a couple. Well, that's a lie. That's not true, is it, Taylor? You have had two. They just didn't end up working out forever. But you have been a pop star who was also in a 6-year-long relationship at one point. So it's just not true that you've never had two. And I can't have fun if I can't have ... implied you. Be my NY when Hollywood hates me. The haters, they're always on her mind, right? I don't know why NY would be so much more welcoming than Hollywood, but, regardless. New York has always held a place in Taylor's mind that's a bit romanticized, right? So New York is the safe spot. And the reason I think that Taylor thinks that way about New York is her previous discography and how she describes New York. You're only as hot as your last hit, baby. I've been number one, but I've never had two, and I can't have fun if I can't have you. I don't hate the line, you're only as hot as your last hit, baby, but it feels disjointed. It doesn't feel like it means, or that it goes with the context of the rest of this song. It's just being kind of pigeonholed in here, in my opinion. Is pigeonholed in the right way of saying? Shoehorned in, not pigeonholed in, shoehorned in. Next, she says, hey, what could you possibly get for the girl who has everything and nothing all at once? Okay, very dramatic, very much. And they say she's so lucky, she's a star, but she cries with her lonely heart. But how do you have nothing, Taylor? You have a family who loves you. You have friends, right? How do you have nothing? It feels very reductive. And I get that it would be kind of a wordy line to say the girl who has everything, but also yearns for something that she can't quite put her finger on. Yeah, babe, I would trade the Cartier for someone to trust. Just kidding. She toys with the idea of I would give up the glamorous lifestyle if I had the right person. But then she immediately contradicts it. She says, just kidding. No, she wants the glamour and she wants the love. And there's nothing wrong with that. We hit the booth at Musso and Frank's, which is apparently a restaurant in Hollywood. And you look at me like you're hypnotized, and I think you know why. Because they made love. And he's thinking about that. That's my interpretation of it. Oh yeah, and I just skipped right over this because I don't think it goes. They say I'm bad news, I just say thanks. Who? At Musso and Frank's they said that? Did the maitre d' say that? Did your waiter say that? Because I'm sure you could call the manager and that person would be reprimanded, probably fired. Just, it doesn't feel like it fits. I don't think it's a bad line, but it doesn't feel like it fits in this verse. Then, and if you ever leave me high and dry, and then we repeat the chorus, Elizabeth Taylor, do you think it's forever if I can't have you? And then all my white diamonds and lovers are forever. I said this in my little short video. But the wording of this could be fixed so that it doesn't sound like she's saying that both the diamonds and the lovers are white, which is how it sounded to my ears upon the first listen. I know that White Diamonds is a famous Elizabeth Taylor perfume, and I don't think that that means that this line could not have been worded better. In the papers, on the screen, and in their minds. So the lovers aren't forever in terms of they didn't last forever, but they are immortalized in the papers, on the screen, and in their minds. They're being potentially, her fans, because she writes about them, right? She writes about every lover that she's had. If you were a lover that Taylor didn't write about, that would probably hurt. You would be like, wow, I don't even get one song You gave a song to a guy you made significant eye contact with when you were in 8th grade, and I don't get a song? All my white diamonds and lovers are forever. Don't you ever end up anything but mine. That last line I find kind of juicy. It's vaguely threatening, and it's possessive, and it's like taking ownership of Travis. Like, don't you ever end up anything but mine, or you're gonna be one of these people that are immortalized in all the wrong ways. Again, the theme over all of this seems to be, I will not be okay if you ever leave me. You better not leave me, man, Travis, or you don't know what will happen. I need you. And we're comparing Travis to exes in this song, and that's a theme throughout this album, is Travis being compared to the wrong men. And I think there would be something nice about not comparing him to others and just being like, this is what I love about Travis. Why do you got to talk about your exes if you're so happy? Yeah, so that's Elizabeth Taylor. Some disjointed lyrics here and there, but not the worst song lyrically on the album by any stretch of the imagination. Track number 3, it's called Opalite. It starts like this. I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never gonna last. You know, by invoking the brother and later her mother in this, it really makes it feel like we know Taylor better than we actually do. You know, she's telling us what her brother said. She's telling us what her mom said. We're all friends here. It invokes a stronger parasocial relationship. But, you know, the line, I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. Pretty self-explanatory. Her exes are trash. She couldn't get over them. That's very evident in her music. She's constantly singing about what if, why did it end, what could have been with her exes. She finds it hard to get over people. And she finds it hard to get over the fantasy that she's created about people, even if she wasn't with those people for very long. It's never gonna last. It's never gonna last with trash, you know? That's what the raccoon said when he's, you know, eating the meal out of the trash. He's like, oh, and the worst part is this chicken will be gone, and then I'll just be hungry again. Can't we all relate to that? I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. The ghosts are her exes, you know? They just don't leave her mind. She can't stop thinking about it. And all the perfect couples said, when you know, and when you don't, you don't. Yeah, that whole perfect couples, it's a little resentful, you know, a little bitter, and you can't blame her, right? When she's in this time period of every relationship she's been in just ends, and she's so desperate for love that it's annoying when that perfect couple is like, when you know, and when you don't, you don't. All of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before. They'll see it again. Life is a song. It ends when it ends. I was wrong. I think this whole little section is meant to sound profound, but it isn't actually as profound as she intends it to be. Yeah, all right, so everyone's watching her relationships. They've seen her fall in love. They'll see her fall out of love, and then they'll see her fall in love again. But this line in particular, life is a song, it ends when it ends, it sounds like it's really saying something. But is it really saying something? I was wrong. She was wrong about this man or that man. She thought they were the one, they weren't. But my mama told me it's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes. So she was able to cope, you know, through hardship, through adversity. She's still dancing. We know that. She can do it with a broken heart. That's a song on Tortured Poets Department about dancing through heartbreak during the Eras Tour. Sleepless in the Onyx Nights. In the Onyx Night. So, you know, when hard times were happening, she was sleepless. It's interesting. The song Midnights, she said, is about, or the album Midnights, she said, is about all the things that she thinks when she can't fall asleep at midnight. So that's now put in a negative light. That's not a good thing anymore. That was when she was tortured. But now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 my lord. Never made no one like you before. Not met. Never made no one like you before, talking about Travis. Opalite is a man-made stone. This is about having to make your own happiness. And I think this line kind of means I never imagined, I never daydreamed, I couldn't even, it didn't even occur to me to fantasize about being with a big dumb jock. When I used to create fantasies in my mind, it was always about being with a skinny, tortured poet. It hasn't occurred to me since high school when, she's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers, blah, blah, blah. It hasn't occurred to me since then to pine after a beefy football guy. But look, when I go against my instincts, see how well it works. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. Oh, 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 oh. Travis generates his own sunshine. He just makes everything happy. You couldn't understand it, why you felt alone. You were in it for real. She was in her phone, and you were just a pose. So the you here is Travis. She's talking to Travis. And he felt alone with his ex, who was an influencer, and she was in her phone. And they didn't have that real, deep connection that allegedly Travis and Taylor have. Whether or not Taylor meant to invoke Travis's ex, that is what she does here. And I think with the rapidity of some of Taylor's fan base, it is a inconsiderate thing to bring other people into her lyrics. If this person has not quite literally stabbed you, talking about them in any capacity could be an overreaction, because you know that some of your fan base is going to overreact and they are going to bully this person. And you hate it when you're cyberbullied, Taylor. So, these aren't diary entries. These don't go nowhere. These go to millions and millions of people, these songs. And don't we try to love, we give it all we got. You finally left the table, and what a simple thought, you're starving till you're not. He was dissatisfied in love, and then he left the table where the meal, the love, was unsatisfying, and then he met Taylor, and now he's not starving anymore. Yay! And all the foes and all the friends have messed up before. They'll mess up again. Life is a song. It ends when it ends. You move on. Okay. Yeah. Words. A collection of words. And then we repeat the chorus, but it's, and that's when I told you it's all right. So it's not Mama telling Taylor anymore. It's Taylor telling Travis, and we repeat the chorus. And then we have, oh, 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 this is just a storm inside a teacup. But shelter here with me, my love, like thunder, like a drum. This life will beat you up, 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 up. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom. And I can bring you love, 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 love. Don't you sweat it, baby. So, a storm inside a teacup, a speed bump, inconsequential problems, but no matter how inconsequential these problems are, I can shelter you through it. We can get through everything life throws at us together. Failure brings you freedom. Failing at love freed you from the wrong person, is how I interpret that. And now you can be with Taylor, and she can bring you love, 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 love. Don't you sweat it, baby. Together we can just power through life. Yeah, and that's Opalite. Lyrically, certainly not the weakest song on the album. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the music, but the music I kind of like for this song. Again, I wish Taylor would focus more on what's happening to her now and the love she feels now, and less on how it's so different. Less on comparing and contrasting to exes and more on just being in the moment with that person, because it feels like she doesn't know how to talk about how in love she is without invoking how wrong other people have been for her. Now we have track number 4, Father Figure, which I think is one of the more interesting songs on the album, maybe because it's not about Travis Kelce. And it goes like this. When I found you, you were young, wayward, lost in the cold, pulled up to you in the Jag, turned your rags into gold. The winding road leads to the chateau. You remind me of a younger me. I saw potential. So, we've got this rich hero figure who pulls up a young, lost Taylor from, the rags into gold. Taylor's never had rags, right? She grew up on a Christmas tree farm in Pennsylvania. But regardless, this isn't supposed to be a one-to-one interpretation of her life. She's got this rich guy figure that comes and scoops her out of obscurity. He goes on to say, I'll be your father figure. I drink that brown liquor. I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. This love is pure profit. Just step into my office. I dry your tears with my sleeve. Okay. Polarizing line, that one about I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. But we've got kind of like a mafia boss style character here. I like the line, this love is pure profit. And then I dry your tears with my sleeve because Taylor is soft and weak at this point, and she's crying and needs this person to console her. Leave it with me, I protect the family. Leave it with me, I protect the family. I pay the check before it kisses the mahogany grain. Taylor, I saw in an interview, was very proud of that line, because instead of saying, I pay the check before it hits the table, she said, I pay the check before it kisses the mahogany grain. Hearing that little snippet of the interview where she was talking about how much she loved that line was an insight into what she values as a songwriter. And it's imagery, it's flourish, it's saying things in a way that she thinks is a pretty way of saying them. Said, they want to see you rise, they don't want you to reign. So this father figure kind of instills this fear of the haters in Taylor. It tells Taylor that they, the people, the ubiquitous they don't want the best for you, but I do. I showed you all the tricks of the trade. All I ask for you is loyalty, my dear protege. Yeah, very much mafia guy vibes here. All he wants is loyalty. Or what, A lot of people have speculated that this song is about Scooter Braun and about her journey from naivete and signing a deal that she maybe regretted signing at some point, so that Scooter owned her masters, to where she's at today, where she owns her masters. That's speculative. Nothing in the lyrics makes that certain. Hi, it's editing, Caroline. It's the nighttime. People think that father figure is about Scott Borchetta, not Scooter Braun. Scott Borchetta owned Big Machine Records, which was the first label that Taylor was with, and was the label that sold her masters to Scooter Braun. Then we repeat, I'll be your father figure, I drink that brown liquor, I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. This love is pure profit, just step into my office, they'll know your name in the streets. So Taylor's no longer crying, right? Before, this guy was drying her tears with his sleeve, but now She's not crying. She's getting harder, getting stronger in the nick of time. And they know her name in the streets. Leave it with me. I protect the family. And then, I saw a change in you, my dear boy. They don't make loyalty like they used to. Your thoughtless ambition sparked the ignition on foolish decisions which led to misguided visions. Oh my God, hickory dickory dock. The dog on the log in the fog. It's clunky. Excessive rhyming, in my opinion. A little bit corny. A little bit takes away from it to me to have this ambition, ignition, decisions, visions. That to fulfill your dreams, you had to get rid of me. I protect the family. So this is this guy being like, hey, you had ambition, and now you think that you need to get rid of me? Hey, you don't need to get rid of me. Stay loyal. Stay loyal, Taylor. And then I think it shifts to now Taylor speaking. I don't know that for sure, but that's what it seems like to me. I was your father figure. We drank that brown liquor. You made a deal with the devil. Turns out my dick's bigger, right? It used to be because, turns out my dick's bigger. Turns out Taylor's dick's bigger. You want to fight, you found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. I mean, if we didn't think we were in mafia territory before, we're definitely in mafia territory with that sleeping with the fishes line, and Taylor is the bigger mafia boss, ultimately. Whose portrait's on the mantle? Taylor. I'm sure if you are a Swiftie and you have purchased some vinyls or some merch, it isn't Scooter Braun or anybody else's face that's on that merch, it's Taylor. Taylor's face is on the mantle, Taylor's face is on the merch. Who covered up your scandals? I don't know, right? Is she talking about Scooter Braun or somebody else's scandals? Mistake my kindness for weakness and find your card canceled. You're not going to make money on me anymore if you mistake my kindness for weakness. I was your father figure. You pulled the wrong trigger. This empire belongs to me. And I really take that line as I own my masters now. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. You remind me of a younger me. I saw potential. So to me, that's Taylor going from naivete to now she is the type of boss, the type of ruthless boss that she was raised to be. She became the boss she had because that's how she could take ownership of her life and her decisions and everything else. I don't think it's the world's most relatable song. I don't know if other people listen to that song and, it reminds them of some type of scenario they've had. I don't know. I'm so in the mind of thinking it through Taylor's lens, I can't even imagine what else you would apply this song to. But lyrically, I think it's one of the stronger songs on The Life of a Showgirl. Which brings me to, in my opinion, the weakest song lyrically on The Life of a Showgirl, track 5, Eldest Daughter. Let's get into it. Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes, sad as it seems, apathy is hot. Everybody's cutthroat in the comments. Every single hot take is cold as ice. Taylor says this section is satire. In interviews, she said that her using the internet speak is satire. Satire of what exactly? I don't know. I don't think it reads as satire. I think it just reads as a bit cringe. But the message is not satire. The message being, I care a lot about what strangers say on the internet. It hurts me. It hurts my feelings when people say their jokes and have their memes. That hurts my feelings, and I know that I'm supposed to be apathetic, but I'm not, okay? I'm not apathetic. It bruises. It's interesting to me how much Taylor flip-flops throughout her musical career between this, like, I don't care what the haters say. Haters gonna hate, 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 right? I just gotta shake it off. To this, it hurts my feelings. It hurts them so much. It makes me so sad and angry type of thing. I think shake it off is how she wishes she felt. But that truly she's a human being like anybody else. And when she takes in criticism, she doesn't like it, perhaps even more so than other artists when they take in criticism. This is the woman who wrote the song Mean about a critic, someone who wrote a critique of a performance of hers. She wrote a whole song called Mean that was like, I'm going to be a star and all you're ever going to be is mean and you're also fat and ugly. I don't know. That's a paraphrase. Like, it was brutal. And why did she write it? Because somebody did their job and wrote a review of her art. Now, Taylor recently, when someone was like, how do you feel about people's, mixed reactions to the life of a showgirl, she said, if you're saying my name or the name of my album in the week of my album release, you're helping. So I'm helping. I know that. I don't mind that. And also she said that she's not the art police and that people are allowed to have subjective opinions about art. And that's what I'm having, is a subjective opinion about art. And I don't know if that's actually how Taylor feels, if actually it doesn't bother her that people have subjective opinions, or if that's more just, wishful thinking on her part. She's trying to will herself into not feeling that way. But also, it's not like she could go on a talk show and be like, yeah, I hate it. I hate all these little, how dare they? How dare they? Because that wouldn't seem very chill. And then she says, when you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. That's a jump. What are we talking about? Sorry, Taylor. What are you talking about? Are you talking about when Travis asked you out because you said you were busy initially, maybe? Because you were afraid to be vulnerable? I don't know. This doesn't feel like it has to do with what we're currently talking about. Who did you say that to? And then, I have been afflicted by a terminal uniqueness. I've been dying just from trying to seem cool. So, like, a terminal uniqueness is the belief that your problems are so special that nobody else could possibly understand them. It's like a self-destructive way of thinking, and it's a way of thinking that prevents people from taking agency over their own lives. I don't know if that's how Taylor means it, or if she just means it's so hard to be different. Because following it by that I've been dying just from trying to seem cool sounds like she really does think that she's very different from everybody else, and trying to seem cool has been the part that's killing her. Trying to seem like she's not different from everybody else. Up to interpretation. I do find it to be just a tiny bit insufferable. And then we get into this. But I'm not a bad bee, and this isn't savage. But I'm never going to let you down. I'm never going to leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never going to break that vow. I'm never going to leave you now. In terms of who she's talking to, I guess it's Travis. I guess that's who she's saying. She's like, hey, I may not be a bad bee, and I may not be savage, but at least I'll be loyal to you, Trav. And then we've got so many traitors, smooth operators, trite, tired. Enough. How many times are you going to talk about the traitors and haters, Taylor? Enough. Who this time? Which ones this time? But I'm never going to break that vow. I'm never going to leave you now. You can interpret that as her talking to Travis, as her talking to her audience. I think because of where we go in this song that she's talking to Travis. So I need to, for a second, talk about I'm not a bad bee and this isn't savage. Yes, it sounds incredibly silly, especially in the sad tone that she sings this in. But I cannot ignore Meg the Stallion. That's who I immediately thought of when she sang this, because Meg the Stallion famously has a song called Savage where she says, I am that bee, I'll always be that bee, and then she says that she's savage. Intentionally or not, I kind of think Taylor is equating being cool to things that are associated with Black culture. And in ways she's kind of saying, well, I guess I'm not cool like the cool girls who just happen to be Black because I'm a white girl, I'm a nerdy little white girl. It feels racially charged to me. And I know that people will take issue with that and people will say it's just internet speak. But most of internet speak originated as AAVE and originated with Black culture. Just an interesting thing to consider. Then we have quite the harsh transition to this. The last time I laughed this hard was on the trampoline in somebody's backyard. So the last time I laughed this hard means that she's currently laughing. With Travis, I guess so. I must have been about 8 or 9. That was the night I fell off and broke my arm. Pretty soon I learned cautious discretion. When your first crush crushes something kind. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. Okay, so a lot of issues here. She didn't actually break her arm. The Swifties have informed me of that she has said in interviews that she's never broken a bone. So this is something that she invented for the narrative here. But what is it? Is it the breaking your arm on the trampoline that taught you cautious discretion? Or is it when your first crush crushes something kind? I think in isolation, this when your first crush crushes something kind is not a bad line, but it feels shoehorned in here. It feels irrelevant. It doesn't feel like it matches the rest of the verse. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. On Midnights, she has a song Lavender Haze when she says, that 1950s shit they want from me, I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. And she's saying, I said I didn't believe in marriage because I didn't think I would get it. I lied to myself and I lied to you guys because I didn't think that I was going to get the fairy tale ending. But I don't know if any of us ever believed that she didn't believe in marriage because she's always sung wistfully about a fairy tale version of romance. And it often included marriage or the symbolism of marriage. And then she has this line. Every eldest daughter was the first lamb to the slaughter, so we all dressed up as wolves, and we looked fire. You could interpret this as, every eldest daughter is sacrificed, so we might as well dress as wolves and look good being sacrificed. It doesn't mean anything. It grates. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The line grates, it irritates, it gets under the skin, it itches because it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't belong. It's like the only thing in this song that connects it to the title of Eldest Daughter, and it does it so poorly. We repeat that bad bitch chorus, and then we lie back, a beautiful, beautiful time lapse, Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs, and things I said were dumb. Because I thought that I'd never find that beautiful, beautiful life that shimmers that innocent light back like when we were young. Okay, yeah. Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs. Those are just words. You never said those things were dumb. Kisses? You never said kisses were dumb. Lilacs? What does lilacs have to do with anything? Those are just words. This is just flowery for the sake of being flowery. I get the message, right? You thought you'd never have it. So you said it was dumb, but you always wanted it. But you barely said it was dumb, right? You never said it with your full chest. We always knew that you're a hopeless romantic. And she's recapturing what it feels like to be young again. It's so high school. That's a song on Tortured Poets Department. Every youngest child felt they were raised up in the wild, but now you're home. I believe that's about Travis because he's the youngest child. Okay. Yeah, never gonna break that vow, never gonna leave you now, never gonna leave you now. Not about being an eldest daughter at all. A confusing combination of ideas. Alphabet soup, poured into the same bowl as ice cream, and cereal. It doesn't go together. The whole song grates, jumps from haters, I'm not cool, but really, love is like a Ferris wheel, all over the place. A badly conceived, poorly conceived song. I said it. That's how I feel. I'm allowed to feel that way. This next song, track 6, is kind of written in the classic style of Taylor Swift storytelling. It's called Ruin the Friendship. First verse. Glistening grass from September rain, gray overpass full of neon names. You drive 85 Gallatin Road and the lakeside beach, watching the game from your brother's Jeep, your smile miles wide. Just painting a picture of being a high schooler in Nashville, Tennessee. Nothing very offensive about it. What Taylor likes to do, paint her pictures. And it was not an invitation. Should have kissed you anyway, should have kissed you anyway. And it was not convenient, no. But your girlfriend was away, should have kissed you anyway. Hey. Should have kissed you without permission, even though you're taken. No, I actually disagree. You shouldn't have kissed him. He had a girlfriend. He didn't ask you. You said there was no invitation. You shouldn't have kissed him. No. Disagree. Don't think you should have. All right. Shiny wood floors underneath my feet, disco balls make everything look cheap. Have fun, it's prom. She's really painting the picture there, right? We know we're at a prom, and not even a prom at a nice location, a prom in a gym with a cheap disco ball. Wilted corsage dangles from my wrist. She's not, that's an image that says she's not even happy, she's not even having fun. Corsage is wilted. Because she's not feeling it. Over his shoulder, I catch a glimpse. So she's dancing with a date, and over the shoulder of the date, and see you looking at me. She makes fleeting eye contact with some guy in high school, and she interprets that as potential interest on his part. This is a theme throughout Taylor's music, where she will take one look and extrapolate and create a love story in her mind from that look. Especially in her earlier work, she did it all the time. Nothing in this suggests that the guy in this actually wants anything from her that's romantic. And it was not an invitation, but as the 50 Cent song played, should have kissed you anyway, and it was not convenient, no, would have been the best mistake, should have kissed you anyway. This boy has a girlfriend, first of all. Second of all, 50 Cent song played, as I said in my short video. I think that was Candy Shop. And if it wasn't Candy Shop, it was Into Club. Regardless, it is an egregious reference to make. To evoke the name of 50 Cent. You've taken me to a place and I don't want to be there. I don't want to be dragged, kicking and screaming, to this place you've taken me, Taylor. All right. Don't make it awkward in second period. Might piss your ex off. Lately we've been good. Staying friends is safe. Doesn't mean you should. And then she repeats exactly that. So at least the girl is an ex now, so I guess it's more acceptable for her to be pining after this guy because he's single. Lately we've been good. Staying friends is safe doesn't mean you should. You know, this is just this whole story in her mind of what if instead of staying friends I had made the moves on you. And get ready for a big old tonal shift. When I left high school, I lost track of you. Abigail called me with the bad news. Goodbye, and we'll never know why. It was not an invitation, but I flew home anyway, with so much left to say. It was not convenient, no, but I whispered at the grave, should have kissed you anyway. Oh, and it was not an invitation. An invitation, should have kissed you anyway, should have kissed you anyway. Oh, okay. So, the boy that she's been talking about this entire time, that was a friend at best, kind of an acquaintance at worst, that she regrets never having made the moves on, despite the fact that he was taken for the majority of the time that she was considering making the moves on him, died. And she flew to the funeral. But this is not a man that she was close with. She lost track of him. They fell out of contact after high school. And then she goes to the funeral, and I don't think literally she whispered at the grave, should have kissed you anyway, but I find it kind of icky that she's writing this song about a man that has died in such a self-centered way, about her regrets, about what a romantic relationship that he may have never been interested in, that she's regretting not pursuing when they were in high school together. You don't know him anymore. Like, shouldn't your thoughts at a funeral be how sad that this person died, and not about, oh, if only in high school I would have kissed this dead man? It feels gross and tacky and self-centered to me, and I know that people are going to disagree with me, and they're going to say how poignant it is, and they're going to say how this encapsulates how they felt when, you know, somebody that they knew died, and they had all of these what ifs, and it doesn't matter that she wasn't that close with this person anymore. But the difference is, this is a song that she put out on the album that has sold more copies than any other album ever, I believe now. It's Broken Records in terms of that. I don't know the specifics. A record-breaking number of sales album, one of the biggest pop stars in the world. This isn't an acoustic song that you're playing at a coffee shop. You are putting this out to so many people. I think it's fine if you have thoughts like this when someone dies. I think that it is an altogether different story to put out a song like this that is so focused on your feelings about somebody else's death that you were not very close with, admittedly. And then we finish with, and it was not. My advice is always ruin the friendship. Better that than regret it for all time. Should have kissed you anyway. And my advice is always answer the question. Better that than to ask it all your life. Should have kissed you anyway. That's not my advice. My advice isn't to ruin the friendship. What does she think would have gone differently? Does she think this was the love of her life? That's not what she's indicating here. She's just like, I wish I would have had a romantic fling with this guy. It's not a good idea to ruin the friendship. It's not a good idea to make moves on someone who's not available. It's not a good idea to push boundaries. You will be okay with what ifs. There will always be what ifs in your life. And I believe in a case like this, you might even be wondering, what if I had not ruined the friendship? What if I had let my friendship be a friendship? We think it's gross when men do it, right? We think it's gross when a man spends the entirety of a friendship secretly pining for a girl, and then one day just drops on you, hey, by the way, do you want to kiss? And you're like, what? We're in biology class. No. And it's, so many women have felt this, the betrayal of thinking I had a friend and realizing, were they just friends with me because they had this romantic narrative in their head of this friendship would lead to something else? It's a classic Taylor Swift storytelling song, and in that way, I think a lot of people will like it, but ultimately, it left a bad taste in my mouth. I found it off-putting. I'm wondering how you feel about it. Track 7, Actually Romantic. This is the song that is quite famously, everybody knows about Charli XCX. For context, before we get into the lyrics of this song, Charli XCX wrote a song called Sympathy is a Knife, where she says things like, don't want to see you backstage at my boyfriend's show, referring to when Taylor was dating Maddie Healy, who's in the 1975, and Charli's now husband is also in the 1975. Hope they break up quick. But then goes on to explain what she means by this, and it's like she says things about feeling so paranoid, and this girl, essentially, this is a paraphrase, this girl makes me feel so insecure. She says, direct quote, couldn't even be her if I tried. And she said, want to buy a gun, want to shoot myself. So I don't think this is about Taylor, but this is about a deep insecurity that Charli XCX is expressing in Sympathy is a Knife. A disturbing level of insecurity, really. She knows it isn't rational. She knows that people around her don't see it the way she sees it. But having people be like, no, it's okay. No, you're great too. It hurts her. It's a very raw song. And a very emotionally charged song. That is ultimately, Taylor is just a stand-in for her view of pop perfection. Now on to the lyrics of Actually Romantic, and how we know so thoroughly that this is a song about Charli XCX. I heard you call me boring Barbie when the Coke's got you brave. So that's not something that's in the song. Sympathy is a Knife, and yeah, so maybe there's other drama that fueled Actually Romantic. Coke and Charli go hand in hand. She's got a song called 365 that's like bumping that, party girl, bumping that, Coke. That's a huge indicator that this is about Charli, but it goes on. High-fived my ex, then said you're glad he ghosted me. I mean, in Sympathy is a Knife, she does say that she hopes that Taylor and Maddie Healy break up quick. Wrote me a song saying it makes you sick to see my face. That's not exactly how I interpreted Sympathy as a Knife, but, if that's how it felt, that's how it felt. I'm sure it is not a comfortable feeling to listen to a song like Sympathy is a Knife and know it's about you. Especially when it explicitly says, I talk to my friends about this, No one wants to hear that they're being discussed. Whether it's in a negative way or not. Some people might be offended. But it's actually sweet all the time you've spent on me. It's honestly wild, all the effort you've put in. It's actually romantic. I really got to hand it to you. No man has ever loved me like you do. What about Travis? Doesn't he think about you? I know that that's hyperbole, but, it's basically saying, why are you so obsessed with me? It's saying, it's cute how obsessed with me you are. You're literally, you don't stop thinking about me, do you? It's catty. It's Regina George. Hadn't thought of you in a long time. I think the lady doth protest too much. It's kind of like You're So Vain by Carly Simon. You're so vain, you probably think the song is about you. Well, who is it about, Carly Simon, if it's not about the person that says that you say it's not about? If you're referencing a person, isn't it kind of about, you know what I mean? But you keep sending me funny Valentines, and I know you think it comes off vicious, but it's precious, adorable, like a toy chihuahua barking at me from a tiny purse. That's how much it hurts. She's trying so hard to get us to believe that she doesn't care. But you wrote this whole song, you know? That completely contradicts the idea that you don't care. How many times has your boyfriend said, "Why are we always talking about her?" How many times has my husband said, "Why are you always talking about Taylor Swift," right? Relatable. That tiny chihuahua, tiny purse line kind of does encapsulate where Charlie's at versus where Taylor is at in terms of the scene. Taylor's a billionaire. Taylor went on the Eras tour. Taylor is almost always going to be punching down at this point in her career. And it's not great to punch a chihuahua, you know? It's going to make people cringe a little bit because people don't like to see that. And she goes on, "You think I'm tacky, baby? Stop talking dirty to me. It sounded nasty, but it feels like you're flirting with me. I mind my business. God's my witness that I don't provoke it." Whether or not that's true, that she doesn't provoke these things, when you get to the meteoric level that Taylor Swift is at, it is always going to be a choice, a very strong choice, to write something that so irrefutably calls out an individual, because you've got an army of fans that are ready and willing to harass people, that you've trained to harass people over the years. It doesn't matter if you provoked it or not. You're still punching down. And then she says, "It's kind of making me wet." I need a minute. Why you gotta say that, Taylor? This isn't even a song about Travis. This is a song about Charlie XCX. Why you gotta say wet? But Sabrina Carpenter does it, and you don't care when Sabrina Carpenter does it. Yeah, I do. I think it's gross. I think it's gross when Sabrina Carpenter does it. I would think it was gross if a man wrote a song where he's like, "My wiener is hard." I wouldn't like that either. Maybe I'm a prude. But stop it. Please stop it. Please don't say that. Please. The song finishes. It's actually romantic. You've given me so much attention. It's actually romantic. Shoot bop romantic. Okay. If this was just about the generalized haters, I wouldn't hate it so much. You know? I wouldn't. It's the fact that everybody and their mother knows exactly who this is about. And if they don't, all they have to do is look up the title of the song, and they'll get a million articles telling them all the backstory of who exactly this is about. What is Charlie supposed to say to this? She can't say anything, you know? Like, I don't know. You've got me feeling bad for a pop star. I don't want to feel bad for a pop star. I don't want to feel bad for a British girl that does coke. But this is how you've made me feel, Tay-Tay. Stop it. Just stop it. But she won't stop, and it will get worse. You can probably tell that I'm sick. I've been sick for weeks. I've had a very juicy cough for weeks, and I'm stuffy, and I just took a Mucinex. That's another part of why I wanted to make this video today, because it just seemed like kind of a cozy thing to be able to make, and I don't have the energy to come up with a new character or a new relatable scenario. I'm just gonna have to talk to you. That's just what I'm gonna have to do today, because that's the energy I have. Alright, moving on to track number 8. Wish list, spelled WI$HLI$T. All right, first verse. They want that yacht life under chopper blades. They want those bright lights and Balenci shades and a fat ass with a baby face. They want it all. They want that complex female character. They want that critical smash Palme d'Or, and an Oscar on their bathroom floor. They want it all. Let me just continue. And they should have what they want. They deserve what they want. Hope they get what they want. I just want you. And then we'll get into the rest of it. So this first verse is all about what they want. It's not about what Taylor wants. And I find it a bit disingenuous that Taylor is setting herself apart from the people who want a yacht life under chopper blades when she is a billionaire. And being a billionaire is always something that one does with intention. Nobody just stumbles upon $1 billion. You make money moves. You have to rise and grind and have a capitalistic mindset to make $1 billion. You don't just magnanimously, altruistically find yourself being a billionaire. So it grates that she sets herself apart from the people who want a yacht life under chopper blades. They want those bright lights and Balenci shades. Bright lights is in, stardom, fame, I guess so. Balenci shades. Has anyone ever wanted that? Who wants that? Balenci shades. Is anyone writing that in their journal? There are certain things like, in Hermes, that's what it's called, right? Hermes, the really $30,000 bags. That kind of bag. Louis Vuitton, shoes, Louis Vuitton, bags, luggage, etc. There are certain things that are so thoroughly associated with, I've made it if I have one of these. Balenci shades has never been on that list. I'm sure somebody somewhere wants Balenci shades, but I don't know who that is. And a fat ass with a baby face. Dare I say this one feels a little bit racially charged as well? Come at me. I can take it. I can't. It'll hurt my feelings, but still. They want it all. They want that complex female character. Why don't you, Taylor? What do you... You don't want a complex female character? Why wouldn't... Who doesn't want that? They want a complex female character. I want flat female characters. I want female characters that don't feel like real people. I want complex female characters. I want complex male characters. I want complex characters in general. Sue me. They want that critical smash, Palme d'Or, and an Oscar on their bathroom floor. Somebody pointed out that, Drake said something about a Grammy being a doorstop for him. But again, it feels disingenuous that she's setting herself apart from the people who want these things when we know that Taylor is awards driven. She wants awards. She submits herself for Oscars, whatever she has, an original song in a movie. But beyond that, she's acted in movies. She went on Directors on Variety and talked highly of her own directing skills. I think that she would love an EGOT. She would love that. She loves that she's one of the most awarded musicians ever, has the most Grammys, the most album of the years ever. So to set herself apart from people who won awards, I don't believe you. I don't believe that that's not you. And I suppose it would all feel so much more condescending without this. And they should have what they want. They deserve what they want. Hope they get what they want. I think she wants this to feel genuine. In terms of, she wants us to really believe that she wants people to have whatever they want. I think without that, it would grate more. And then she says, I just want you, have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. We tell the world to leave us the F alone, and they do. Wow. Got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Boss up, settle down, got a wish list. Oh, okay. Let's unpack it, all right? She just wants Travis. Have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like Travis. That's a small block. 2 children, suddenly the whole block looks like Travis. Okay. We tell the world to leave us the F alone, and they do. She chooses the spotlight. She chooses it. That's something that she likes about Travis, is that he thrives in the spotlight. That's what she told us in a song on this very album. And Elizabeth Taylor, she told us she likes material things, and she wants both love and material things, and she likes that Travis can handle the fame with her. If she wanted more privacy, she could have it. Pap walks are a choice. Going to the football games and not, sneaking in the back. I don't know where she sneaks in, but she's being photographed at the football games is a choice. The Eras Tour was a choice. She has plenty of money. If she wanted to go away from the spotlight, she could. If she wanted to move to Switzerland in a small town where they would quickly get used to her presence, she could. She could. It is not us who are preventing her from doing this. It's a choice she's making, which is fine. But just say you love the fame and you love the money, and you want kids, and you want love. Why can't you say, I want it all? Why do you have to pretend like you want this life that you could choose today? And then, got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. I think something that grates about this line, sorry, I'm just really loving saying that, is that this is a dream that a lot of millennials and Gen Z people, and especially Gen Alpha, will never achieve. We will never be homeowners. I am not a homeowner, and I don't see a path where I could be a homeowner. Not in Los Angeles. Of course, I could move to a different area of the country, but I know very few people that own a home. It is a lofty dream for Americans right now. And she's talking in the context of America, the driveway with the basketball hoop, this suburban image. We can't even have that, You're like, I wish that I had the silly podunk little lives that you have, but we don't even have this. We wish that too. We would love a driveway with a basketball hoop, but we can't afford that. You could have this if you want. You could have a basketball court. And then boss up, settle down, got a wish list. Boss up is a very capitalistic saying, like rise and grind, boss up. Settle down. They contradict each other. What is it? Is it boss up or is it settle down? Because in order to settle down, you need to boss up a little less. Just words. Just words. Next verse. They want that freedom, living off the grid. They want those 3 dogs that they call their kids. And that good surf, no hypocrites. They want it all. They want a contract with Real Madrid. They want that spring break that was effing lit. And then that video taken off the internet. They want it all. The 3 dogs that they call their kids, and her setting herself apart from that, when, in such recent memory, she embraced the term childless cat lady when Donald Trump tried to weaponize that against her, and, talks about her cats like they're her kids, but suddenly that's not her anymore, you know? It does feel a little like she's making fun of these desires. I know that she says that if that's what they want, they can have what they want, but it doesn't exactly feel like she's not judging these things. Good surf, no hypocrites. Okay. You want hypocrites? A contract with Real Madrid. Who is this person? You know, some of these are more like generalized they. And then some of these, it's like, who are you talking about? Why don't you just say he wants a contract with Real Madrid, and then we know that this is some specific person you're thinking about, because I don't know anybody that wants a contract with Real Madrid. I don't know anybody that plays soccer. Football. They want a spring break that was effing lit. Yeah, of course you don't have the same desires as a college student. You're nearly 36 years old. And then that video taken off the internet. That's also very specific and feels more like something that would be in line with what she wants. I know that there's a picture that was apparently taken in the dark at a Katy Perry party of a young Taylor Swift embracing a man who has a big red swastika across his chest. That's a picture I'm sure that she wishes that she could scrub from the internet. So, you know, setting herself apart from people that might have things on the internet that they regret feels a bit disingenuous, like I said before. And they should have what they want. They deserve what they want. I hope they get what they want. We repeat the chorus. I made wishes on all the stars. Please, God, bring me a best friend who I think is hot. I thought I had it right once, twice. I did not. Again, why do we have to bring up the exes? Eliminate that song from this, and we don't have any comparisons to exes, but we included that. And now in this song that's supposed to be about what you envision with Travis, you are invoking the exes. But I did not. You caught me off my guard. I hope I get what I want, because I know what I want. And then the chorus repeats again two times. You could have what you want right now, today. Being so thoroughly in the spotlight is your choice. Going on talk shows and showing off your ring is a choice. Publicizing your engagement on Instagram and seemingly have it be sponsored by Ralph Lauren is a choice. I don't begrudge you those choices, but don't pretend like you have no choice in the matter, that you are being forced at gunpoint to be rich and famous. That's just not the case. A lot of celebrities have a lot more private relationships than Taylor has. Now, if you've ever thought, I hope I never hear any type of metaphor or allusion to Travis Kelce's Ding-a-lang Dong Dong, I've got terrible news for you, because the song Would exists. This is track number 9, I believe, if I'm keeping track of the numbers, and it's called Would. Here we go. Daisy's bare naked, I was distraught. He loves me not, he loves me not. Penny's unlucky, I took him back, and then stepped on a crack, and the black cat laughed. Who's Daisy? I'm sure I could look it up, but who's Daisy? Who's Penny? The purpose of this first verse is just like setting the stage of superstitions, right? Stepped on a crack, break your mama's back. We've all heard that. The black cat being superstitious while the black cat's laughing at her because she's so cursed, you know? A messy first verse. Lyrics that don't feel wholly intentional. And baby, I'll admit I've been a little superstitious. Fingers crossed until you put your hand on mine. Seems to be that you and me, we make our own luck. A bad sign is all good. I ain't got a knock on wood. I wish it had stopped there. Yes, I wish the song had stopped right there. I wish the song had continued in this vein of like allusions, metaphors to superstitious things, like, because this is actually a cute idea. This is actually a cute idea for a song. The idea of like I don't, let all the mirrors break. I'm not worried about 7 years of bad luck. I've got a literal 4-leaf clover, not literal, a figurative 4-leaf clover of a man right here. I don't have to worry about bad luck. That's actually cute. But that's not what we get. Here we go. All that bitchin', wishing on a fallen star never did me any good. I ain't gotta knock on wood. It's you and me forever, dancing in the dark. You know what she means by dancing in the dark? Intimacy. All over me, it's understood. Yes, we understand. All over you. Intimacy. I ain't gotta knock on wood. Forgive me. It sounds cocky. I don't forgive you, Taylor. Cocky, because of the first 4 letters of that word. He ahmatized me and opened my eyes. Ahmatized is dickmatized. She didn't fully say it, but she kind of did. Redwood tree ain't hard to see. It's not hard to see, Travis's ding-a-lang ding-dong, because it's huge. That's what she's saying right here. She's saying, ladies, it's like a redwood tree. And what do we know about redwood trees? They're big. His love was the key that opened my thighs. Pretext is out the window. Subtlety is dead. His love was the key that opened her thighs. We are being hit over the head with a phallic-shaped brick. Okay. Girls, I don't need to catch the bouquet to know a hard rock is on the way. Stop. Stop it, Taylor, please. Please don't say this stuff to me, please. Ew. And baby, I'll admit, I've been a little superstitious. Buckle in, because this one's really painful. The curse on me was broken by your magic wand. Oh my God. Oh my God. Seems to me that you and me, we make our own luck. New heights of manhood. New Heights is his podcast. Manhood is his ding-a-lang dang-dong. I need a second. People have sung songs about sex before. They have sung songs about explicit things before. So why does wood feel so gross to me and to others that have listened to it? That's your fiance. That's your future husband. That is not an anonymous man. If my husband wrote a song about my genitalia that he released to millions and millions of people, I would feel uncomfortable. If he had metaphors comparing my hoo-ha to a toothpaste tube, it's far too familiar, and it isn't for him. It's for us. She even says, ladies. She's talking to us. She's not even talking to him. She's telling us about Travis's ding-a-lang ding-dong. And I don't know how Travis feels about it. But I don't feel good about it. And I know a lot of people wouldn't feel good about a song like this. It feels exploitative of your partner, putting them on display. When Sabrina Carpenter sings about sex stuff, it's like, we don't know these men. These are kind of just like anonymous men, and you would have to do a lot of digging to figure out who she's talking about. And I've never heard her sing this explicitly about genitalia before. I don't know. I think people will excuse it, will be like, other people do it. I don't know. Tell me an example of another person doing this. Moving on. Next, we have a song called Cancelled. It's in all caps and it has an exclamation point, and it is a song that a lot of people didn't like. It's a song that grates. I'll let you be the judge of that. You thought it would be okay at first. The situation could be saved, of course. But they'd already picked out your grave and hearse. Beware the wrath of the masked crusaders. Masked crusaders, anonymous people on the internet, of course. Comparing getting canceled to death. And how canceled are you really? You're still selling out tours. You're still incredibly rich. The type of canceled she is talking about is not you lose your career. It's you have some bad press for a while. Did you girl boss too close to the sun? Are you okay? I know that was harsh on the ears. Girl boss. We haven't said girl boss since 2012. And also, that makes it seem like the issue, when someone is canceled for girl bossing too close to the sun, it's usually like exploitative business practices. And calling it girl bossing is just making it cutesy when the thing people are talking about is not all that cutesy. Did they catch you having far too much fun? Come with me, when they see us, they'll run. Something wicked this way comes. Why would they run? Because you had too much fun? Because you're a girl boss? No one's running. No one's afraid of you. Did they catch you having far too much fun? Did you get drunk at an event that it wasn't appropriate to get drunk at? Were you celebrating when other people were experiencing intense tragedy? Good thing I like my friends canceled. I like them cloaked in Gucci and in scandal. I thought you wanted a basketball hoop and no material things, but no, you like your friends cloaked in Gucci. I like my whiskey sour. This feels like a callback to Father Figure, where she says, I drink that brown liquor. She likes her mafia style friends. And poison thorny flowers. No, you don't. Nobody likes a poison thorny flower. I get it's a metaphor, but still. Welcome to my underworld where it gets quite dark. Use a nightlight. That line, where it gets quite dark. That's just not good. It's just bad. Just like workshop it for 5 more minutes, please. At least you know exactly who your friends are. They're the ones with matching scars. We got matching scars from when the internet was critical of us. They stood by me before my exoneration. They believed I was innocent, so I'm not here for judgment now. Oh. So dramatic. Oh my God. You didn't kill a guy. You may or may not have pretended that you disapproved of a Kanye song that you had already explicitly approved of. They believed I was innocent before my exoneration. It's just tired. It's tired. I'm tired. I think we're all kind of tired at this point. But if you can't be good, then just be better at it. Everyone's got bodies in the attic, or took somebody's man. No. Not everybody's got bodies in the attic. Not everybody has taken somebody's man. Just because there are moral codes that you don't hold yourself to does not mean there's no one out there that actually does hold themselves to these moral codes and they're just getting away with it. That everybody who's not canceled for these things is just getting away with it. It's okay that you don't hold yourself to the same moral standards that some other people do. But this whole take of, well, literally everybody sucks. No. We'll take you by the hand and soon you'll learn the art of never getting caught. Sneaky, duplicitous, snake. Okay. Scott Tangle, my friends cancel, blah, 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 blah. I salute you if you're much too much to handle. I actually like that song. Or I like that line. I don't like the context. I like it in the like, I'm too much, I'm annoying, people find me grating way. I relate to it in that sense, but not in the, I hang out with people who have committed sexual assault way. It's easy to love you when you're popular, the optics click, everyone prospers, but one single drop you're off the roster, tone deaf and hot, let's effing off her. It's kind of ironic, right? Because this song is tone deaf. She is committing the sin she has been accused of committing right here in the song. Did you make a joke only a man could? This is a theme we come back to with Taylor's work, is that she wants to be able to get away with everything that high-powered men get away with. She would be allowed to be so much more ruthlessly capitalistic if she were a man. Is that the men you want to be like? You want to be like a Jeff Bezos? You want to be like an Elon Musk? You don't think it's fair that they get away with it? Well, their fans are men. Of course. And I'm not a believer in, all men, whatever. Their fans are like capitalistic men. Your fans have higher moral standards than the fans of Jeff Bezos. And I don't think anyone really considers themselves a fan of Jeff Bezos, but that's a privilege to have smarter, more discerning fans. That's because you make something that's more compelling than just empty capitalistic nonsense, right? Like, you should appreciate that your fans care more than the fans of these men. Were you just too smug for your own good? This song is smug, yeah. Or bring a tiny violin into a knife fight. That doesn't make sense. That's just words. Baby, it all ends tonight. And then we repeat the chorus and say, it'll break your heart. At least you know exactly who your friends are, the ones with matching scars. Can't you see my infamy loves company? Now they've broken you like they've broken me, but a shattered glass is a lot more sharp. I got smarter, I got harder in the nick of time. And now your name is in red underline. And now you know exactly who your friends are. You know who we are. We're the ones with matching scars. Tone deaf is right. People are dying, Kim. And you're complaining about being canceled. You're talking about Gucci. You're a rich white woman whose greatest hurdle is that people discuss you on the internet. And you claim not to even look at the internet anymore. The most generous interpretation of that song is that it's about Blake Lively, who is embroiled in a messy, complicated thing with Justin Baldoni. I don't know the details of that. It's rich people problems. And I don't really have the energy to find the details about. Maybe people have unfairly piled on to Blake Lively. I do think Blake Lively was in a position where people were already annoyed with her, and so it did not take much for people to turn on her. So, I don't even mind this if it's as much if it's a song about Blake Lively, but it could also be a song about, how she hangs out with all of these far right-wing podcasters now and people who have committed sexual assault and people who praise Donald Trump when she has been specifically targeted by Donald Trump when Donald Trump said that he hates her. A lot of her fans are liberal white women that hope that Taylor is the same as them and that have been told by Taylor that she is the same as them in her Miss Americana era, in her time when she was dating Joe and she acted like Democratic politics meant so much to her and that she had to speak out and that she regretted not speaking out earlier and that, she wanted to be on the right side of history. And now she seems to care less about those things and less about optics. And a lot of her fan base wouldn't associate with people that are proud supporters of Donald Trump. A lot of people don't see certain things as just politics. They see it as human rights issues, and they're not okay with being friends with people that don't have the same moral values as them. And I think that people are going to interpret this song as her being like, screw you guys. I like my canceled friends. Am I having too much fun for you? Sorry. In this climate, it's going to be taken worse than it would have been taken if she had released this song in 2013. We're almost there. This is track number 11, called Honey. You can call me honey if you want because I'm the one you want. When anyone called me sweetheart, it was passive-aggressive at the bar, and the bitch was telling me to back off. She's gone on dissertations. Not dissertations. She's talked extensively about the B word being used against her and how that's gross. And now she's just casually calling this nameless woman a B word. I don't know. 'Cause her man looked at me wrong. If anyone called me honey, it was standing in the bathroom, white teeth. They were saying that skirt don't fit me, and I cried the whole way home. What if they were just trying to help? What if Taylor had a serious case of the see-through skirts because it was too tight, and that person was just trying to say, Taylor, the skirt, I can see everything. Yeah, she took that personally. I get it. But you touch my face, redefine all of those blues when you say honey. Summertime spritz, pink skies, you can call me honey if you want, because I'm the one you want. Winter green kiss, all mine, you give it different meaning, 'cause you mean it when you talk. Honey, I'm home, we could play house, we can bed down, pick me up. Did you have to tell us again that you and Travis are intimate? We get it. You guys bone. Good for you. So happy for you. Who's the baddest in the land? What's the plan? You told us you are not a bad bitch. So it's not you. You're not the baddest in the land. You told us so. That line feels like it's out of nowhere. What do you mean, who's the baddest in the land? That feels thrown in there. You could be my forever nightstand. And I hate that that's just thrown in there because you could be my forever nightstand is kind of cute. Honey. But you touch my face, redefine all those blues when you say, you can call me honey if you want because I'm the one you want. You give it different meaning because you mean it when you talk. Sweetie, it's yours. Kicking indoors. Take it to the floor. Give me more. Oh, You guys didn't even make it to the bed this time. You're doing it on the floor. People walk on that floor. Your cats walk on that floor. Buy the paint in the color of your eyes and graffiti my whole damn life, honey. Fine. Fine. When anyone called me late night, he was screwing around with my mind, asking, what are you wearing? Too high to remember in the morning. Again, we're comparing to our exes. When anyone called me lovely, they were finding ways not to praise me. Lovely gowns, beautiful gowns, she's a lovely girl. She might not be that talented, but she's a lovely girl. Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying. But you say it like you're in awe of me, and you stay until morning, honey. Again, a song that compares Travis to other people. I guess it's not the worst. I don't like it that she calls this nameless woman a bitch. I think that was unnecessary. I guess there are cute lines in it, but it just could have used another pass, Could have used a little bit more editing. We've made it to the 12th song on The Life of a Showgirl, and it is the title track, meaning it has the same name as the title. It's called Life of a Showgirl. And it is a collaboration with Sabrina Carpenter. So this first verse is sung by Taylor. Her name was Kitty, made her money being pretty and witty, then they gave her the keys to the city, then said she didn't do it legitly. Oh. Egregious. Legitly? That's egregious. Legitimately is the word you're looking for. Also, she made her money being pretty and witty. How did she make her money being witty? She's a showgirl. I bought a ticket. She's dancing in her garters and fishnets, 50 in the cast, 0 missteps. Looking back, I guess it was kismet. They gave Kitty the keys to the city when she's one of 50 showgirls in an ensemble. Seems unlikely to me. It seems like you're just saying words to me. Excessive rhyming. Pretty, witty, city, legitly enough. I waited by the stage door, packed in with the autograph hounds, barking her name, then glowing like the end of a cigarette. Wow, she came out. I said, you're living my dream. Then she said to me, hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. You're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe, and you're never ever gonna. Wait, the more you play, the more that you pay. You're softer than a kitten, so you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe, and you're never gonna wanna. Fame is hard. Fame is hard. The spotlight is so hard. It's the hardest thing anyone could ever do. Nobody's cut out for it besides Taylor. I know that this is the verse that's coming from a fictional character named Kitty. But this is a sentiment I think that Taylor feels. That, like, you couldn't last a mile in my shoes. You have no idea how hard it is to be me. Well, Taylor, you have no idea how hard it is to live paycheck to paycheck. And you're never ever gonna. Okay, Sabrina Carpenter. She was a menace, the baby of the family in Linux. Her father whored around like all men did. Her mother took pills and played tennis. This is a fictional character you're making up. The mother with the pills and the tennis. All right, so she was privileged, right? Financially privileged. One usually is financially privileged if their mother plays tennis. So she waited by the stage door as the club promoter arrived. She said, I'd sell my soul to have a taste of a magnificent life that's all mine. But that's not what showgirls get. They leave us for dead. Enough. enough of this fame is so hard narrative. I get that there are hard things about fame, but just like, can you not acknowledge that fame and fortune are also really nice in a lot of ways? That you are exempt from a lot of the worries that the average everyday person has? Hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. You're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl. Babe, blah, blah, blah. And then Taylor and Sabrina sing, I took her pearls of wisdom, hung them from my neck. I paid my dues with every bruise. I knew what to expect. Do you want to take a skate on the ice inside my veins? I need a second. That feels very Tumblr. I'm 14 and this is deep. Do you want to take a skate on the ice inside my veins? It doesn't even fit in the song. It is shoved into the song because you wrote that line and you thought, oh my gosh, this is so clever. I've got to find a spot for it. A lot of the lines feel that way throughout the album, that they were just something that she jotted down in a notebook and she thought this is really clever and she's like, I've got to find a spot for it. Let me shove it into Eldest Daughter. Let me shove it into Canceled or whatever else. But that the concern is not, does this serve this song? It's, where can I get this line out? They ripped me off like fake lashes and then threw me away. All the headshots on the walls of the dance hall are the B words who wish I'd hurry up and die. You're the one who feels that way about other women, Taylor. Like, you're the one who feels so thoroughly threatened by other people's success. She has songs about this that are essentially about feeling threatened by other women coming up in the industry and not being the newest, shiniest thing anymore. What happened to women supporting other women, right? I get, the whole concept of I don't support all women. Some of you are dumb, but what have these people done to you? What have other women in the industry done to you? You're just projecting your own insecurities. But I'm immortal now, baby dolls. I couldn't if I tried. She's right. I think that part of the appeal of making art, music, writing a book, being in a movie, is that you get to live a little bit longer. They say that you're not dead until your name is spoken for the last time on earth. And if you have a body of work like Taylor does, in that sense, it'll take you a lot longer to die. William Shakespeare, in that definition of death, is nowhere near dead, Legacy. Having something that will live on after you. That's what makes you immortal. In this, just thinking about it in this way. I'm not saying I believe that or I don't believe that, but I understand where the line is coming from. Then she repeats the chorus, they repeat it. Pain hidden by lipstick and lace. I don't think she hides her pain. I think she sings about it very explicitly all the time. Sequins are forever. Does that fit here? Or is that just words that you wanted to say and that you wanted to slap on some merch later? A lot of the lines feel that way. And now I know the life of a showgirl wouldn't want it any other way. And then we've got this outro, which is a recording of them at the Eras Tour. Thank you for an unforgettable night. We'll see you next time. Give it up for the band and the dancers. And of course, Sabrina, I love you, Taylor. That's our show. We love you so much. Good night. Okay, so pros and cons. At least that song is along the lines of the theme of the album. We were told this is an album about the life of a showgirl. It turned out to mostly be an album about proving how in love with Travis Kelce she is. You know what? That's a harsh take on it. A lighter take would be just, celebrating her love to Travis Kelce, which is fine, but it's not exactly what you think the album is going to be about based on the title, based on the imagery that we've been presented. So at least this song is Showgirl. But lyrically, it's just not that strong. All right, let me simmer. So we've made it through all 12 tracks on the album. And some songs were lyrically stronger than others. Some songs were incredibly weak lyrically. Taylor has said that she wrote and recorded this album while she was doing the Eras tour. Did little pit stops in Sweden. I think that's where Max Martin is based. I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And recorded this album, and that she only wrote these 12 songs, that there weren't any on the cutting room floor. And I think that is something that comes across in this album. It feels like a first draft. And I think one of Taylor's biggest issues in terms of her writing today is that she has such an unshakable surety in her own creative genius. She believes that the way that she writes things the first time is the best way that one could write them, and she doesn't seem to be getting input from other people to a very high extent anymore. She's spoken about before, like when she was under her first label, they would veto things, they would edit, and she didn't like that. It bothered her. She wished that she could do things exactly the way that she wanted to, and then later in her career, she did gain the ability to write her music exactly the way that she envisioned it. And that has some positives, but it also has some drawbacks. If you're surrounded by yes men, if there's never really a time where other people give you notes, where you get feedback and take that feedback in and make adjustments, then the work is going to suffer. It kind of reminds me of Netflix's version of Wednesday Addams in the show Wednesday. Wednesday's written a novel and she keeps sending it out to editors, and she says that, and the editors keep turning it down, and she says, I would rather never have this book published than change a single word about this, like in this book. And Taylor doesn't have to change a single word ever. She's, like she's painted herself in father figure, she's the boss babe. This is her empire. She doesn't have to listen to anybody else. And she can dismiss any criticism as haters. And just remain confident that she's doing everything perfect. She has, I think it's in Miss Americana, but a moment where she gets a call about Reputation, that it's not been nominated for any of the major Grammys. And she's like, I'll just make a better record. I'll just make a better record, And it upsets her so much that her album was not loved by critics. But now, she gets 5 out of 5 stars from Rolling Stone on this album, which feels perhaps like she paid for that to be the case. Because seriously, you have no notes, 100 out of 100? Even if this were a significantly better album, no notes? How was that the case? Hi, it's Editing Caroline again. It's still nighttime. I've been at it for quite a while, partially because my editing software keeps crashing because I use Microsoft Clipchamp, which comes on all Microsoft-enabled computers to edit my YouTube videos. I just wanted to say, because I'm not sure that I emphasize this enough, that I think the whole album is bad. I think every single song on the album is bad, to varying degrees. Fate of Ophelia, nonsense lyrics, toxic message, inappropriate and misguided reference to a famous, tragic literary figure, Elizabeth Taylor, words, just shouting words a lot of the time, all over the place, sloppy, another toxic message, this idea that I can't have fun if I can't have you. You need to learn to have fun with yourself, Taylor. You need to learn to be okay with yourself. You can't depend on another person for your happiness. That's my biggest takeaway from the first two songs. Opalite, corny, uninspired, unnecessary comparisons to exes, both hers and Travis's father figure, confusing, unrelatable, depends on a deep knowledge of Taylor's lore to be able to make any sense of the song. Eldest Daughter, trash, no consistent theme, all over the place. Feels like she wrote a bunch of lyrics on slips of paper, put them in a hat, and pulled them out at random order, and that's how she formed the song. Really cringy use of internet speak in AAVE. Number 6, Ruin the Friendship. At best, doesn't fit the theme of the album at all and feels like a complete outlier sonically. At worst, weird and exploitative of someone's death, someone that she wasn't very close to. 7, actually romantic, immature, petty, revenge-focused, jarring. Number 8, Wish List. Corny at best, condescending, lyrics that stick to the tongue rather than rolling off the tongue, tone deaf, lies, she's lying, and just an egregious use of dollar signs in the title. If you're telling us that you do not need material things, you just need Travis, why did you put dollar signs in the title of the song? Would. Gross. Poorly written, even if it was not gross, involved us in a kink that we did not consent to. Number 10, canceled, tone deaf, grating lyrics, Colleen Bollinger's anthem. She literally posted a video of herself crying listening to Canceled, and I think that tells you everything you need to know about the song. 11, Honey, boring, weak, sad excuse for a love song that says, I love that you adore me. What do you love about Travis? Can you talk more about that, please? These are sad excuses for love songs if these are the best love songs you can come up with for someone. And Life of a Showgirl, corny, condescending, nonsensical at times. Bad use of fictional character in storytelling. Yeah. So I just wanted to make that clear in case anybody walked away from this video thinking that, I don't know, I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I don't. I think it's a really bad album. For clarity's sake. So yeah. That was the life of a showgirl. I hope you had fun going on this journey with me. I had fun. Have a good day, a good night, a good week, a good month. Thrive. I dare ya. Yeah, it was nice spending some time just chatting with you. All right. Bye. You've got this.